What if I told you one man helped drag Europe out of the Dark Ages, and you've probably never even heard of him? Buckle up, because today's deep dive takes us on the incredible journey of Gerbert of Aurillac, a name that should be etched in every history book, but for some reason often gets lost in the footnotes.
It's a story that really makes you question what we think we know about progress. We tend to view history as this straight line, but Gerbert's Layer is a perfect example of how innovation can come from the most unexpected places.
Okay, let's unpack this. Picture Europe in the year 900. The Roman Empire is a fading memory, and the continent is scrambling to pick up the pieces. Imagine trying to run an empire using Roman numerals. Talk about a logistical nightmare.
And it wasn't just the math that was a mess. Centuries of knowledge, philosophy, engineering, astronomy were scattered, lost in the upheaval of collapsing empires.
Enter Gerbert. Born around 940. Now, we don't have one of those dramatic born in a thunderstorm moments for him, but trust me, this is a tumultuous time to come into the world. So what's a bright, ambitious kid from a humble background to do? Well, in Gerbert's case, he found his ticket to knowledge. The monastery.
And this is key. Joining a monastery wasn't just about religion. It was often the only path to education. These institutions became havens for learning, preserving texts that would otherwise been lost.
It was like enrolling in the intellectual boot camp of the Middle Ages, right? And Gerbert, he aced every test. His talents caught the eye of the abbot, who made a decision that would change history. He sent Gerbert to Spain.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because Spain in the 10th century wasn't what most people picture. Forget knights and castles. We're talking about the Cordoba Caliphate, a beacon of intellectual and cultural flourishing that most history books barely even mention.
This seemingly insignificant trip to Spain would change the course of history. Tell us more about this Cordoba Caliphate. Who were the major players, and what made them so unique?
At its heart was Caliph al-Hakam II, a ruler who understood that true power lay in knowledge. He amassed an incredible library, we're talking 500,000 volumes, and employed scholars from all faiths and backgrounds to translate and preserve ancient texts.
500,000, that's more than just a few dusty scrolls. What were they reading? What kind of knowledge was being preserved in this intellectual melting pot?
They were translating everything from Greek philosophy and Roman engineering to Persian mathematics and astronomy. It was through these translations that Gerbert would have encountered a revolutionary system, Arabic numerals.
Ah, yes. This is where things get really interesting. Forget those clunky Roman numerals. Gerbert was about to encounter the elegant system of numbers that we still use today, the building blocks of modern mathematics.
This wasn't just about easier addition or subtraction. The Arabic numeral system, with its concept of zero as a placeholder, it unlocked a whole new level of mathematical complexity. It's no exaggeration to say that this system revolutionized mathematics and paved the way for everything from advanced algebra to modern computing.
So, picture young Gerbert in this library, surrounded by scrolls, his mind expanding with each new discovery. Talk about an education. But he wasn't the type to just hoard knowledge. He returns to the Holy Roman Empire with this intellectual treasure trove and quickly puts it to use.
And this is where his other great talent comes into play, teaching. Gerbert had a knack for making even the most complicated concepts understandable. Remember, this wasn't just about convincing people to use new symbols. It was about fundamentally changing how they thought about numbers.
It's like trying to explain the internet to someone who's never even seen a computer, right? A serious uphill battle. But Gerbert's reputation as a scholar and teacher grew, and he eventually caught the attention of the Holy Roman Emperor himself, becoming tutors to the emperor's heir.
Talk about influence. Gerbert wasn't just shaping the mind of a future emperor. He was planting the seeds of an intellectual revolution that would slowly but surely transform Europe.
And it wasn't just about the numbers. Gerbert's genius spanned disciplines. He wrote a groundbreaking book on geometry, designed and built a hydraulic organ that astounded listeners with its complexity, and even recreated the armillary sphere, a sophisticated astronomical instrument used to track the stars.
And this is what makes Gerbert such a fascinating figure. He was a true polymath, centuries ahead of his time. Imagine the ingenuity it took to build a hydraulic organ in the 10th century. This wasn't just about music. It was a testament to his understanding of engineering, physics, and acoustics.
He was like a one-man Renaissance man, centuries before the actual Renaissance. But perhaps his most lasting legacy is something we haven't even touched on yet. His papacy. That's right. This former peasant scholar rose to become Pope Sylvester II.
And that name choice wasn't a coincidence. Pope Sylvester I was closely associated with Emperor Constantine, who helped spread Christianity throughout the Roman Empire. Was Gerbert. with his own ambitions of spreading knowledge, drawing a parallel. Did he see himself on a similar mission to revitalize Europe through learning?
He was saying, I brought you the numbers, now get ready for a new era of enlightenment. And speaking of enlightenment, there's a fascinating mystery surrounding Gerbert's legacy, one that takes us to the heart of the Italian Renaissance, and in particular painting by Sandro Botticelli.
The Botticelli mystery. This is where Gerbert's story takes a truly intriguing turn. Remember how I mentioned that sometimes history can be hidden in plain sight? Well, this is one of those times.
Okay, now you got me hooked. What's the story with this Botticelli painting? So we're in Florence, standing in the Church of All Saints and staring at this fresco by Botticelli. It's a depiction of two saints, St. Jerome with his traditional Bible and robes.
Yeah.
And then there's St. Augustine, except something's not quite right.
Exactly. St. Augustine seems to have walked straight out of a 10th century astronomy lecture. Botticelli painted him surrounded by an armillary sphere, a geometry book, and even a mechanical watch, none of which were exactly common accessories for a 5th century saint.
It's like Botticelli time traveled to Gerbert's workshop and brought back some souvenirs. But why include these anachronistic details? Was this just an artistic oversight? Or could there be more to it?
That's the million-dollar question. Scholars have been debating this for centuries. Some believe Botticelli might have been making a subtle statement about Gerbert's legacy. Remember, this was the Renaissance, a time when rediscovering classical knowledge was all the rage.
So, by subtly inserting Gerbert, the man who helped preserve that knowledge, into a religious painting, Botticelli could celebrate both the past and the present. A clever nod to the interconnectedness of history.
Precisely. And remember, openly celebrating a pope who embraced foreign knowledge might have ruffled a few feathers, even centuries later. So, this subtle artistic tribute could have been Botticelli's way of acknowledging Gerbert's contributions without causing a stir.
It's like an inside joke for the art history buffs of the 15th century. Look, it's St. Augustine, but not. It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in plain sight within famous works of art.
That's the beauty of history, isn't it? It's full of these tantalizing mysteries and unexpected connections. And Gerbert's story is a perfect example. He reminds us that progress isn't always a straight line. It's often a winding path, shaped by individuals who dared to challenge the status quo and embrace knowledge wherever they found it.
Next time you're scribbling down a phone number or marveling at the latest technological innovation, take a moment to think about Gerbert of Aurillac, the peasant, scholar, pope, an unlikely hero of intellectual history. He may not have had a smartphone or a supercomputer, but his thirst for knowledge and his dedication to sharing it helped lay the foundation for the world we live in today.
And as we've seen from the mysterious Botticelli painting, his story continues to spark debate and inspire awe centuries later. Perhaps that's the greatest legacy of all, to leave people pondering the mysteries of the past while reminding them of the power of knowledge to shape the future.
And that, my friend, is a deep dive worthy of its name. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and who knows, maybe you'll uncover a hidden hero or two along the way.